So we will formally start this session. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Nazir, and I work as a coordinator with Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific chapter. This is the 8th webinar of Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific and third in the series of webinars on evaluation of energy policies and programs that is focusing on SDG7. Before handing it over to Edward, who is our moderator for today's session, I would like to share with you some of the housekeeping rules for this session. So, as I already explained, this session is being recorded, and by attending and participating in this session, we assume that you give your consent for this to happen. But if you have any concern, any problem, please feel free to reach out to us. I would like to request you to kindly keep your microphones muted when you are not speaking, but you can switch on your cameras for engagement if you do not face any internet problem. You can use the chat box to share your questions. The speaker might respond to the questions directly in the chat box, or we will have a dedicated session at the end for question and answer. We would like to request you to provide your feedback at the end of the session. We will be sharing a questionnaire, a brief form with you for that. As I already shared, this session will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. We will be sharing the link with everyone who have registered for this session. It will also be available in our website along with the session notes that we uploaded and as well as shared through email with the participants. So quickly sharing with you the session agenda. We'll be starting with welcome remarks and context setting from Edward, who is our steering committee member. Then we will have presentations from Fayyaz and Sadeep, who are our facilitators and speakers for today's session. And then we will have around 15 minutes of moderated audience question and answer, and we will wrap the session with concluding remarks and as well as vote of thanks. I will hand it over to Edward. Ed, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nazir, for introducing this webinar. As he said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And I look forward to a really very interesting hour here learning about what's going on in two parts of the world I know very little about. So I'm going to open my slides here and let's see, start there. It's funny how this always works here. I know what's happening here. Bear with me 1 second. Here we go. This should work. Does this little box in the way, or do you just see my slides?
Yes, sir, we can see it well.
Good. For some reason, there's a little box that can invite all. Okay. That hides my slides. Interesting. Well, so this is a first. Okay, no, I don't want to leave. Here, if I can get there. So the Sustainable Development Goals is what we've been the center of our attention for a number of our webinars starting in the beginning of the year. There are 17 that were approved in 2015 by the UN General Assembly, and they're came into force January 2016, and everyone's aiming for 2030. The key goals here are for today are number 7 on energy and number 13 on climate action. They're based on 5 universal and interlinked principles, and these 5 seem to resonate throughout the world in different ways, and people are starting to get more and more on board, focusing on the people, the planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. And they do define a path to end poverty, ensure prosperity, and protect the planet and its inhabitants. As I mentioned, there's 17 goals, numerous targets and indicators people are using. We're focusing on number 7, as I said, and number 13. They're going to be the major international development commitment for at least the next 6 years. And from an evaluation perspective, it's essential to know if it works and the money is well spent. But the evaluation process isn't done by an international organization, it's done by countries. It's all country-driven participatory, and they're essentially owned by the countries. And the national governments are the key agencies responsible for the implementation of the evaluations. And just as a breaking news, we're going to have a webinar next month focusing on the government participation. There are many challenges and expectations for SDG evaluations. As you'll hear tonight, there are many different multiple actors, objectives, and programs. And the focus so far on SDG evaluations focus more on monitoring what's getting done, what isn't, and much less on evaluation. We're hoping that will turn in the next 6 years and focus more on the evaluation. And there are people who don't think it's possible to really evaluate all the SDGs together. And so what happens, people will focus on a particular sector, and then different kinds of organizations will have to work together on an integrated evaluation. And the topics are difficult to evaluate when you think about gender analysis and vulnerability as 2 examples. But there are unique opportunities for SDG evaluation, and we need to focus on the broader questions about the effectiveness of development aid, what works, and for whom, where, why, and how. So it does bring together many different kinds of organizations and talents, and does give voice to vulnerable groups who are not usually participating in these international forums. And I was at one earlier this month in Washington, D.C., where there were representatives. So it's good to see that is happening. And it opens up a real new world asking new, broader, and longer-term questions, introducing a range of evaluation issues of complexity, identifying who's being left out, say energy access, which we'll hear about later, and looking at the different linkages. And what I've been pushing, and others as well, is thinking beyond silos and breaking down those silos in particular, so the different groups can start talking with one another. And then, of course, it's a great way of connecting what's happening locally with globally, and vice versa, what's happening globally and locally. One last slide on EEAP, Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific. For those not familiar with it, it was a nonprofit established 2018 now, and the mission is to take a leadership role in expanding the practice of and capacity for objective evaluation in the energy efficiency and renewable energy program and policy arena. We do this by having workshops, conferences, webinars, our website, to hopefully foster the development of what we call a self-sustaining evaluation community. We have a steering committee and advisory committee. If you'd like to learn more, please go to this website. And then today, as I mentioned, Fayyaz and Sadeep will be talking, and I'll introduce them very briefly. And we've just recently got official okay to have our next webinar on SDG7 in April 16th with Henry Adams and Ida Ocampo. And I'm sure Nazir will mention this later as well in the chat forum. We'll have a feedback form for you to fill out after you listen to this webinar. So I think that's what I want to do here. I'm going to stop sharing. And good. Okay. And then I want to introduce our first speaker, Fayyaz. Fayyaz Ahmed works as an MEL coordinator at Mercy Corps and is an evaluation expert at Madiba Group in Germany. He has spent nearly two decades excelling in monitoring and evaluation, as well as others aspects within emergency and development program. He's worked with many international organizations, including Save the Children International, working in areas in climate change, education, health, and humanitarian response. So without further ado, I'll let Fayyaz start talking. He'll have about 15 minutes, and then we'll go on to the next speaker. We'll have our question. We have a period at the end of this webinar. We've allowed time for questions and answers. So Fayyaz.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for a brief introduction and for all the SDG discussion. My name is Fayyaz Ahmed. I'm MEL Coordinator at Mercy Corps. I just recently joined this week as a MEL Specialist, HDF. And rest of the things in our more of focus is on the evaluation of SDG7 towards sustainable energy for all. And we took most of the reference is from ensuring universal and advancing inclusive and equitable energy transition. And this policy brief progress report was prepared by SDG7 Technical Advisory Group. And for those who want more detail can see the link for this brief paper. Now we want to share few updates which are very much alarming and eye-opener for us while we are in the middle of the SDGs agenda from 16 to 2030. And then we can see where we are at the moment. These are just few examples where we are regarding Asia Pacific and few others. And globally, these are the surveyed based on the detailed finding. These numbers are presented. And around 9% are still without access of electricity. And still we are behind in clean cooling solution, which is that 29% lagged in this. And then if we see that without access of clean cooking solutions in 2021, there we have around 1.2 billion people. And these are the regarding our progress or where we are regarding our SDG7 targets and indicator. And if you see that only 5.1% of the Arab region total final energy consumption was generated by renewable in 2020. It's only to 5.1%. Then we can see that intensity of energy intensity improvement has slowed in recent years, which also dropped 0.6 in 2020 than based on the previous years. And because of the financial global crisis, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and then you can see the Ukraine and war crisis. Then we call 2020 1 and 19 the worst years for energy intensity improvement since the global financial crisis, which I mentioned, and that also make the ripple effect of where we are and where we want to go. Then also we can see that when in comparative to 2010 to 19, we have 35% for international public financial flows in support of clean energy. And then in 2021, we have $10.8 billion average, and only 40% of the 27 peak of 26.4 billion. Means the investment has reduced and it's only in the peak on 2017. These are just eye openers for us, these numbers where we are in terms of these SDGs, SDG7. Now, these we all know about these things that when we start tracking and monitoring these SDGs, then only 140 SDGs targets can be evaluated, and only 15% are on the track. And among those 15% and rest of the 17 SDGs, our SDG 7 is on a few of them are on the target. And then we know all about these SDGs and these trackers that we need to ensure universal access to electricity and clean food cooking solutions and so on. Now, regarding the technical advisory group, which want to advance SDG 7 implementation in support of 2030 agenda. These are our International Energy Agency, International Renewable Agency, United Statistics, UN Statistic Division, the World Bank, the WHO. These are the contributing organization, and this which is presented, this is also the contribution of 40 different organizations, from starting from multilateral, unilateral, from UN to the country level ministries and country level representation like CEDA, like Denmark, like others. There are 40 different contributing agencies and organizations which are presenting these updates and which we talk about the statistics. Then this also provide us this policy brief paper of the numbers which I just discussed with you. This is also for the tracking of our SDG 7 and rest of the SDGs. Then Energy Progress Report also review regarding benchmark and what we need to do in the coming years and by how we can meet our 2030 agenda. And also for the realization and guidelines for the policy makers. And what finding shows us that despite using innovation policies and technologies, still we are falling short of achieving those SDG 7 goals. And particularly in the field of access to affordable, sustainable energy. Then what we need to do is that we require robust framework of indicators, statistical data, and its essential element regarding collaboration Then we need to, like in the last slide, Edward also discussed that we need to do the collaborations, seminars, webinars. We need to take the innovative action just to go towards the achievement of our commitments. And then these are the custodian agencies, which I discussed in the start: energy, International Energy Agency, then United Statistic Division, UN, World Bank, WHO. These are also contributing organizations. And what we need to do, we need to use the AI and AI use regarding global dashboards showing growth and access to energy efficient and renewable mechanism. What we need to do action on the priority basis regarding Asia Pacific region for at least making short regarding we are behind 6 to 7 years for the commitment of our agenda. For 3 years, we can make our milestones that we need to increase access to electricity in the unserved areas by investing in off-grid and many-grid solutions. Then implement policies and regulations that support the deployment of clean cooking technologies. And then there are different solutions: liquefied petroleum gas, then electric cook stoves, then sustainable bioenergy, reducing reliance and those. Then we need to encourage the adoption of energy efficient appliances and promote the development of local renewable energy markets. And these are the few recommendations which we need to adopt. And priority recommendations, again, that we need to strengthen regional cooperation, knowledge ourselves, and we need to include approach. Then these are different statistics and details regarding our progress towards achieving or towards tracking the SDGs. I just discussed a few examples. Then where we are regarding access to electricity, that is between 2016 and 21, almost 380 million people can access. Although we have taken initiative regarding access to electricity, but there is a lot more to do in this way, that as our commitment for 2030 agenda, that we have to provide access to electricity and clean cooking solutions. Then what we need to take as a priority target for in this section, that reaching end of the line and off-grid solution, I already discussed this. Then we need to take mini-grid solutions. Also, both long-term sustainable operation of rural decentralized system and all that required to do to prove difficult in some context. Then regarding the other SDGs, clean cooking, then we are between 10 to 21. Regional rate of access to clean cooking rose from 51% to 73.9%. Then, despite the fact that progress expanding access to clean cooking has been quite sufficient over the last decade, the annual rate of increase in access between this 21 to 10 to 2021, that there are 120 people and they got this clean cooking solutions. Priority targets, what we need to do, that we need to bridge the gap between SDG7 target, radically increase investment in the promotion progress. That we also discussed about the catastrophes and the ripple effects, which also slow down our progress. That climate change and growing affordability of renewable drive countries to focus their national energy development plans. That what is the situation that brings our focus of different countries. Then renewable energy auctions have been instrumental in driving the adaptation of wind solutions, solar, and so on. Then what our priority targets, the current rate of progress is not enough to meet the growing demand of renewable energy. This is our point of action, and we need to consider it as we discuss what we need to do in coming 3 years. To overcome these challenges, there is need to be increased technical and financial support at a large. And then this is, we can share this slide later on, and you can see all these progress. And then what we need to do is in a policy implementation and recommendations. The Asia Pacific region continues to make notable efforts towards achieving SDGs. Countries in the region still falling short on achieving many other aspects of the SDGs. We need to have a great momentum and gear up and need to accelerate our progress in terms of implementation of this SDGs. Then actions on the priority, we need to take improve and clean energy, use connectivity as a tool, means that the innovative solution we need to require, we need to mobilize, we need to aware regarding investment and finances, ensure the just energy transition. Then these are
Fayyaz, if you could finish up in a few minutes, that'd be great.
Okay. Then the evaluation community in Asia has understood that we have challenge, we have opportunities, we have vision. And then what the challenge is, this is also discussed by Edwin Wine in the start also. And then energy gain since 2000 saved 4 billion ton of carbon dioxide in 2016 compared to 2016. And we can see the graph here that from 2016, the actual emission and without efficiency, that graph is better and the carbon dioxide use is reduced. And then this is another graph which shows us the statistics that mixed plant and renewable hydropower technologies in all the countries from 2000 to 2028. This is the 18 years trend analysis for the renewable energy. Then we have the opportunity to introduce evaluations, increase expertise in the government, gathering and evaluation capacity building, access to private sectors, and so on. We need to take all these as an opportunity for energy sector. Then we have the vision to support strengthening of evaluation, leadership, and capacity, foster cross-fertilization, address international challenges in evaluation. What we need to focus on the priority areas, that is energy efficient lighting and electrical appliances, energy efficient in industry. And then this is also discussed before that they have the leadership role by Edward, that and they have the committee of Asia Pacific EEAP is the member committee, and we have 35 evaluation ambassadors from 24 countries. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was great. And as I mentioned, we'll have time at the end for questions and answers. And if you have questions, you can put it in the chat as well. And then Nazir can look at those as we go on. Meanwhile, I will introduce Sadeep. Uh, Sadeep Acharya is currently managing director at Jalpadevi Auto Repairing Center, where he has worked on enhancing energy efficiency and sustainable practices within the transportation sector. His expertise encompasses hybrid vehicle conversion, innovative energy solutions, and efficient management of automotive services. And he's been very involved in working on SDG7, ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, modern energy for all. So without further ado, Sadeep, you can start with your slides and we'll go from there.
You're muted, Sadeep. If you could unmute yourself. Thank you.
Namaskar, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity. I'm here to explain about the challenges and opportunities in tracking the energy access in remote areas. I'm starting the presentation with my slide introduction. I'm a mechanical engineer currently involved in Society of Mechanical Engineering Students of Nepal and Robotics Club of Nepal. I'm also involving in rural electric education and electricity Nepal, which is influencing the access of education and health in Nepal. And also I'm actively involved in energy sectors of Nepal.
Sadeep, we want to start on your slideshow at the very top to start that.
If you could come to the presentation mode, yeah, you can also do it at the bottom of, yeah, at the bottom of your presentation. You can see the slide mode or, yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Our previous source has already informed about the importance of EEAP, its plan and its delegation towards the energy evaluation and building the capacity and fostering the communities. So I'm not going in details in this. I'm going to address the importance of energy access in remote areas. Ensuring the energy access in remote areas is of paramount importance for sustainable development. Remote areas often faces challenges such as geographical isolations, lack of infrastructure, and limited financial structures. By addressing the energy access in these areas, EAP acknowledges the potential for significant positive impacts. Access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy is a catalyst for improved living standard, economic development, and environmental sustainability. It contributes to the achievement of broader sustainable development goals, including poverty alleviation, enhanced education, and better healthcare. As discussed by previous sir, these are the overview of SDG7. He has explained a lot about it, so I'm skipping this slide. The major role of EEAP in energy policy evaluation is building capacities, knowledge sharing, facilitating collaboration, country-driven evaluation, and promoting the effective policies. Now I'd like to go in my fourth chapter, that is the remote areas. Let us talk about the significance of addressing the energy access in remote areas. In most of the remote areas, it's very difficult to live a life as they have no any access to electricity. They don't have good access to communications. They do not have any good access to better education or healthcare. Or in some areas, there is no access for a livelihood as well. So, tracking the energy is a pivotal role so that we can achieve our SDG7. So, the significance is underscored by various key factors like inclusivity and equity, universal access, renewable energy potential, and impact on economic development. Also, increasing the energy access in remote areas has profound impact on the quality of life for the resident. Healthcare and education, basic service, communication and connectivity, and productivity and livelihood. Now, tracking the energy system is very challenging in the rural areas due to various issues. The major issues is the geographical isolations. That means it is extremely difficult for us to reach on the destination because there is no good transportation facilities, there is no any good infrastructure, and it's very difficult to collect the data in those areas, and the implementation cost in those areas is extremely high. That means we have to prepare a budget, and sometimes the budget might not work in the specified areas. And for a rural areas, the technical expert most of the time denied to go in the specific area and take the data, and the weather condition of the rural areas are so extremely harassed, and the data privacy and security concern are also the major issues, and limited financial issues are the major challenges. And other challenges are the cultural and social factor. In some of the areas, we have detected that the people of those areas do not want to change their culture, their living standard, and do not want to come in the grid of the electricity or the energy. And data standardization and compatibility is also certain challenges. With the challenges, we do have some opportunities after finding the energy access in the remote areas. And some of the opportunities are abundant renewable energy potential. Many remote areas have untapped renewable energy sources such as hydro, wind, biomass, etc. And leveraging these resources for clean and sustainable energy solution, reducing dependence on traditional and often reliable sources. And the next opportunity is innovative technologies. Advancement in the technology have led to the development of off-grid solar systems, microgrids, and energy storage solutions suitable for remote environments. And implementing these innovative technology for decentralized and reliable energy access, overcoming infrastructure challenges. That means we should not, it's not necessary to prepare a grid from national grid to a specific area. We can innovate that technology, new technology of that respective area. And community engagement, involving local communities in the planning, decision-making, and implementation process of energy projects, and empowering the communities to take the ownership of the energy initiative, ensuring solutions align with their needs, preference, and cultural context. And public-private partnership, collaboration between the government, private sector entities, and non-government organizations, and mobilizing sources, expertise, and funding through PPP to support the development and sustainability of the energy project in remote areas. And most of the countries are now establishing these PPPs, and currently Nepal has also gone through it with various countries like India, China, and Bangladesh. And supportive policies, government can create the policies that initiate and support investment in remote energy projects, and it encouraging private sector involvement, attracting investment, and fostering a conducive environment for the growth of sustainable energy solutions. I'd like to discuss about the interlinkage with Sustainable Development Goals, SDG7. The various goals I already discussed in the seminar. That's no poverty, no hunger, good health and education, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, decent work and economic growth, affordable and clean energy, reduced inequalities, industry, innovation and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities, life below water, climate change, responsible consumption and production, partnership for the goals, peace, justice, and strong institution, life on land, and so on. SDG7 has a highly interlinkage between these other SDGs. Let me describe about the no poverty. It with energy, if energy access is a key factor for the poverty allegation, enabling the income generation, the whole village, the remote areas shall be involved in income generating activities and improving overall economic condition. The health and well-being of remote areas shall be increased by the reliable energy support, facilitating the healthcare and ensuring the availability of medical equipment, refrigeration for vaccines, and overall improved health service. Access to energy is essential for empowering educational institutes, facilitating e-learning, and providing a conducive environment for students and teachers for the better quality education in rural areas. Energy access can empower women by reducing the time spent on manual tasks, providing opportunities for income generation, and enhancing overall gender equality. Energy is crucial for water pumping, purification, sanitation, and contributing to achieving the clean water and sanitation goals. Decent work and economic growth can also be achieved. Sustainable cities and communities can be made, promoting clean and effective organization and enhancing the overall livability of cities. The climate action has been the major issues in this present context. So this SDGs can be heavily reduced by the use of renewable energies and contribute directly to mitigating the climate change and achieving the target. And sustainable energy practice can help to preserve ecosystem, reduce deforestation, and contribute to the conservation of the biodiversity. In collaborative effect in achieving the energy access involve partnership between the government, private sector, and civil society, aligning the spirit of SDG 17. Apart from challenges and opportunities, we need to reinforce the remote areas as well, and the technology for the remote areas are distributed renewable energy sources for rural communities. That means solar energy, the energy that can be achieved from the sun, and the benefits are solar panel can be installed on the rooftop as a standalone unit, offering a reliable and clean energy solution for remote areas. Solar water pumps can be used for the water lifting. Biogas systems can be used. Biogas is produced through the anaerobic digestion of waste materials such as agricultural residues or animal manure, and it can be used for cooking, heating, and electricity generation, providing a renewable energy source while addressing the waste management challenges. Microgrids, small-scale localized grids can be operated independently or in conjunction with the main power grid. And microgrid are well suited for the remote areas, allowing for the integration of renewable energy sources and ensuring a more reliable and sustainable power supply. And small hydropower can be used, raising energy from a small river or stream to generate the electricity. And we have to use the win-win strategy of energy efficiency. If you use more efficient equipments, then we can save the energy. So energy efficiency involves using less energy to accomplish the same tasks, reducing the energy waste and optimizing the resource utilization. And the major benefits are cost saving, environmental impact, and reliability. Improved energy efficiency often results in reduced energy consumption, leading to cost saving for both individuals and communities. And lower energy consumption translate to related environmental impact, contributing to sustainability goals, and it's more reliable. Some
Sadeep,
example.
you have a few minutes left. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Okay. Some examples are LED lights, energy efficient appliances, smart grids, and we have seen the concept of smart community. It can be used in that case. Community awareness and educations, that means promoting energy efficiency practices and educating communities on the benefit of reducing energy waste, and involving the local resident in energy saving initiative fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility. And we also need the government involvement. that can play a crucial role by implementing policies that initiate the energy efficient practice and technologies, and the collaboration from private and public sector. Also, real-time tracking of energy access. The importance is provides a real-time insight into energy consumption patterns, facilitate the proactive response to change in demand or system performance. The tools that I use are smart meters, remote sensor, allergy tools, or continuous monitoring, and much more. The importance of evaluating energy projects are informs the decision making for future project and policy adjustment, ensures resources are allocated efficiently and goals are made. And in conclusion, I'd like to recap the ways. The major challenges are geographical isolation, lack of infrastructure, highly implementation cost, limited technical expertise, cultural and social factors. And the opportunities are renewable energy potential, innovative technologies, community engagement, public-private partnership, and supportive policies. And the further reinforcement, collaboration is the key. Innovation drives progress. Continuous evaluation is essential. Empowering local communities and policy support accelerate the program. So if you have any queries, ready?
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was excellent. Another excellent presentation. As I mentioned at the beginning, we do have time. Nazir, have you been following the chat, or even for those who haven't put anything in the chat, you can talk? And Pramesh, did you have a question? No. Or raise your hand. Meanwhile, I do have a question for Sadeep. You mentioned the role of the private sector, and I'm just curious, in these sort of isolated areas, are the private sector, are they interested in participating, or are they really focusing on people with a large number of people, households, for example? I'd like to find that out.
In the country like Nepal, the private sector has been currently involved in rural areas with some project from government sector and NGOs and INGOs. They are visiting the various remote areas of Nepal, tracking the energy probabilities of Nepal and guiding the communities, and they are entering the remote areas.
So in the remote areas, what percent do you think that's getting done is from government funding versus private sector funding?
It's 90-10, sir.
Okay.
90% from government and 10% from private. But the share of private sector is increasing day by day, sir.
Mm-hmm. Great. Fayyaz, do you see, I saw a lot of overlap between what you're talked about and what Sadeep is talking about. Did you see that as well? And were there certain areas that you thought sort of reinforces what he was talking about?
Yes, thank you. That I took SDG7 from global, from the UN convened level of technical advisory group, where we are from the top level. Then it's good that Sadeep discussed Sri Lanka context at the tracking level and where we are from. There are two different ends, and that is good, I think, if I correctly understand your question.
Yeah, no, that was good. Sadeep, did you want to respond?
So I have been, I have checked the remote areas only. So there might be some difference in other areas and remote areas.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the access is a real key issue, right? And how, I guess one of the other questions I had was the involvement of communities. I think it was maybe Fayyaz in his talk about getting community participation, and that is a critical driver. Are communities in these rural areas they may not have any experience with, in this case, energy or energy efficient technologies or renewable energy. Are there community organizations that are interested in sort of getting excited and would like to participate, or are they sort of don't bother me? I'd like to hear from both of you.
In remote areas, sir, if we connect the solar grid, if we are connected to the solar grid, then there is much more probability of some misconception that if we use the solar, then there will be no rainfall. There is some issues of some securities. So if the communities are involved in this sector, then they shall protect their grid, and they will encourage others to involve in these type of programs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in addition to Sadeep, thanks to him, that if we see the urban and rural, means the use of efficient energy solutions, then in urban areas there is great use of this energy contribution, and in rural we have others off-grid solutions. From the solar means people use the natural resources also. Then there is the difference of urban and rural regarding energy efficient solutions, but we need to see it that equal energy for all, and we have to do the efficient utilization. Like if we see the Africa context and Asia Pacific context, there is the difference, and we need to see the contribution of the regions, that what population proportion is in Africa and what population proportion is in Asia, and so on. Then, as you discussed in your start of the introduction slides, what we need to do, we need to go for the energy efficient solutions, and we need to take the innovations, and we need to go for the awareness and the energy access for all.
Right, right. Well, good. I think we're nearing the end. Any Nazir, did you have some comments as
yeah,
well?
we have a comment in the chat box from Ijaz, and I'm not sure, Ijaz, if you would like to unmute yourself and share your opinion on the interrelation of SDG7 with SDG3 based on your experiences of working in the sector. If you would like to quickly unmute yourself and share your opinion.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here with all of you, especially I was invited by Fayyaz, and it's a great friend of mine, and I'm very grateful that he invited me in this very important discussion. You see that the SDG7 is very much linked with the SDG3, because everything that happens in an environment, it affects the health of the people. And if the people don't have the access to the clean energy, and at the household level or at the community level, they are not going to have good health. And it's very much obvious from various surveys, and we have very good evidence that if both of these SDGs are taken together, then the progress towards achieving the SDG goals by 2030, it accelerates. So that's why I wrote it down, that it should not be looked in isolation. Thank you.
I have a follow-up question for Ijaz. I had a colleague at Lawrence Berkeley Lab, he's retired as well, Ashok Gagil, who was working on energy efficient wood stoves, because a lot of the current wood stoves out there are inefficient, and they're used inside a home where there's a lot of smoke that comes out. There are also other issues, but do you see energy efficient wood stoves? Are people using those in the regions that you've been working in, Ijaz?
Yes, I can talk on behalf of Pakistan. We have here we have the indigenous built energy stoves, but again they use they use the material, like they burn a bit higher quality level of material in it, but again it's not safe, because you see the most of the burden of disease is attributable now. 28% of burden of diabetes and heart disease and the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. These are attributed to environmental conditions, especially the air pollution, whether it is indoor or outdoor, or it causes the resistance in the human body towards insulin. And also it aggravates the heart disease and the incidences of due to sulfur dioxide. So that I think the cleanest energy is important to bring down the innovations are required. Still, we need a lot of innovations in the cleaner energy. Where we are going for the energy efficiency, sometimes the resources are limited, and then there are compromises on the health as well. So that has to also be looked into. There are solutions, and those solutions should be brought in for the low resource countries. Thank you.
Right. I'll just say one final word and then hand it over to Nazir. But I mean, in the United States, of course, we have different issues, but the focus and the trend now is more electrification. And if we can electrify everything, preferably with renewable energy, wind or solar, that is sort of the goal people have in mind. But I know there's a lot of issues related to that, dealing with technology, access to technology, cost, and so on. So I'll leave it at there, and I'll hand it over to Nazir.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Sadeep and Fayyaz, for the very excellent presentation. So I would like to quickly share with you that, we have put the feedback form in the chat box for you to share your feedback and opinion with us. That will help us improve our sessions in the future, but as well as if there is any specific topic, that you would like for our future sessions to focus on, please feel free to share your opinion. In 2024, we have planned series of webinars focusing on evaluation of SDG7 policies and programs. So the next webinar is going to be in April, on 16th of April. We have two very well-known speakers who have done a lot of work in the field of evaluation and have also been working in the energy space as well. So keep an eye in our website and as well as in our LinkedIn page, where you will get to know more about the upcoming webinars and as well as the sessions that we have organized in the past. You can write to us in our email, asiapacific@energyevaluation.org, about anything you would like to be part of our upcoming webinars, or if you have to share anything, if you would like to share anything with us. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is EnergyEval. We post some insightful news and events, and as well as publicize our webinars on Twitter, and as well as LinkedIn. We have a very huge network there of professionals who are active in energy evaluation space, and it's a good opportunity to interact with them. You can also have a look on our YouTube channel, where we upload our webinars and as well as sessions from the previous conferences that Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific has organized. And on our website, you will find valuable resources, including courses on energy and evaluation from different universities, to presentation slides from the previous webinars, and as well as conferences, and as well as our newsletter. So please take a look there as well. I'll not take more than that. Thank you so much for joining us today, and wish you all a great week ahead. Yeah, I mean, we'll be sharing updates on our upcoming webinars in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nazir, and thank you to the presenters, and thank you for the people who joined the webinar. The slides will be made available later, so you can have more time in looking at them in depth. So thanks again, and have a good day.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Edward, thanks to Nazir, thanks to all the participants.